Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy that so many of you were able to tune in today and to join and listen in on our webinar. So, um, I'm Selene Estaris. I am a grade school social studies teacher, an ed tech coach, and also an Apple Learning leader. And today I'll be talking about how you can create visible thinking strategies or routines using Seesaw. Okay, so I'm very glad that Rex gave me this opportunity to talk to all of you about how to do this. Okay, but before we actually dive into creating these routines or strategies on Seesaw, it would be a good idea to get a better understanding first of what visible thinking is and what it's for. Okay, so what are visible thinking strategies? Okay, so visible thinking strategies, or as some people would call them, visible thinking routines, either one would work really, are strategies wherein your students get to visually organize their thoughts in a logical manner. Okay, so by doing that, it helps them to piece together their ideas or to synthesize whatever it is, the concepts that they've learned in your lesson for the day or maybe the week. Okay, so this helps facilitate better learning for your students as well. So, what does visible thinking strategies, or what do visible thinking strategies and routines do for our students? So there are actually 3 R's that it targets. So the first R would be to review. It allows our students to look back or go back on some of their previous experiences or even maybe what they've learned. So it allows them to review all that information. The next R would be to reflect. Visible thinking strategies and routines allow them to think about how something may be relevant to them, how it could affect them, or how it applies to their context or the situation. Another is that it could possibly, incite some feelings in them, and it allows them to reflect on those feelings or those reactions that they might have. And then lastly, it would help them record, meaning it allows them to document or express their ideas and thoughts in a visual way. So something that they can see. Okay, so all of this put together allows students to get a better grasp of what they're learning or have learned and translate it in order to think of it like a puzzle. Okay, when you present information or concepts to your students, you get these different pieces of a puzzle. But once they're able to express it visually, or they're able to record it and document it, then it allows them to kind of piece together those puzzle pieces and it allows them to synthesize their learning. Okay, so we actually have several visible thinking routines, a lot of different examples. Some of these you might be familiar with, so there are simpler ones, there are more complicated ones, some are more appropriate to lower grade levels, and then the others are more appropriate to higher grade levels. Okay, so we'll actually just go through a few of these today, just a few that I'll be showing you how to do on Seesaw, just so you can get an idea of how you could create your own visible thinking routines and strategies as activities for your students on Seesaw as well. Okay, so it's just more of like to give you an image of what it would be like. Okay, but of course, definitely I encourage you to explore it on your own as well and try it out on your own. Okay, so Seesaw is actually a very easy website platform to create resources on for your students, so definitely give it a try. So again, the platform we'll be using is called Seesaw, and you will be able to open it on seesaw.me. Okay, so Seesaw has a website, or if you have, for example, a mobile device, maybe you have tablets or phones, then Seesaw actually works on those as well. Although for your tablets and phones, you might have to download the app for it. Okay, although this is a free app, you can download it on any device it's accessible on those devices as well, which is great because, you know, we're able to reach out better to our students. So no matter what device they might have with them, they can still open and access this particular website. Okay, so for us, we'll be using the website. So once you go there, you just sign up for an account if you don't have one yet. You log in as a teacher, and then you should be directed to a page where you can create your own class. So as you can see here, I already have my own sample class. Okay, I actually have a list of other different classes that I have right here. Okay. So you can add a bunch of classes that you're handling. Okay, this is the main page. Okay, and on this page, this is where your students should be able to see different submissions or maybe different materials that you'll be providing to them. Okay, so how do we create our visible thinking strategy and routine materials for Seesaw is actually by clicking, it's either you add, okay, and assign an activity, or go to Activities tab, the Activities tab here. Okay, and then you click on Browse Activity Library. So one great thing about Seesaw, aside from its accessibility, is that it actually has a collection of different activities from different teachers, different content creators, and it's all pulled together here in the activity library of the website. So you have actually activities that are targeted to different grade levels and different subjects. So as you can see here on this drop-down list, we have different grade levels. You can check out all of them, or you can be more specific, filter out your results. We have from pre-K up to 12th grade. Some are under others. For me, I teach 4th grade, so I'll be using the 4th grade level. And then you can also be specific and filter out the different subjects that you might be targeting. So you have art, computer science. Okay, you have a lot of different subjects here. Okay, some we don't usually encounter. We have digital citizenship, drama. So you actually have a lot. We even have home learning available, religion even, okay, social emotional learning, okay, STEAM, special education, world languages. So these are some examples of subjects that you can filter your activities through. We'll just look at all so that you can see the list of activities that they have for 4th graders. So you can see here some starting out activities, some remote learning activities. Okay, and then if you scroll down, okay, you can see all these different types of activities that you could give to your students. Okay, so these are all created by teachers, okay, and they're all different. They all target different skills. Okay, you could maybe get to know some of the teachers as well who create this content. All right, so for us, because we want to make our own materials or content for the visual thinking or visible thinking, sorry, we will go to My Library. So My Library is basically your own personal library wherein it contains the activities that you have created. Okay, so as you can see here, I have a few of my own activities created already. So these are some that we used last school year when we discussed children's rights with our students in the 4th grade. Okay, so I'll give you a glimpse of some of these activities because they are also actually examples of visible thinking routines. So for example, one that we have here is the mood meter. So this is what that looks like. So students can shade their reaction, their feelings on this bar, and then they can explain why they feel that way. Right. We also have, okay, I have an empathy map here as well. So this is after they had a simulation activity wherein they had to go to different stations and experience more or less what poverty would feel like for students, or well, for children who are in that situation. So this is a simple empathy map. You have the children in the middle. What do they think, feel, do, and say? So the students will just fill this up. Okay. And then there are also other activities where it's more of just writing. So it's just like this. This activity made me feel. They type it in here because, and then they can explain. So for this one, as you can see, there's a lot of space for them to write in, because the idea is we would want them to expound or to explain themselves a little better, give them that opportunity to really express themselves through writing, or how they felt about it through writing. Okay, so let's just go back to my library so I can show you how to create these activities for yourself. So you just have to click create new activity, and then you give your activity a title. So for this one, let's say we want to do our visible thinking routine would be I used to think, but now I know, or now I think. So I used to think, but now I know, but now I think, now I know. Okay, either one. All right. So this is our title. And in this part of the activity page, activity creation page, you can actually write instructions for your students. Okay, so you could write, for example, open the template, attach below, and type in your answers. Okay, you can be a little more specific. Maybe say, explain or express yourself in at least maybe two to three sentences. Yeah. So you include your instructions, be as specific as you would like. And then another option for this, if you have, let's say, younger students who might still be working on their reading skills, or are still, very young to be able to read at all, let's say maybe those who are still in kindergarten, then what you can do is to add voice instructions instead. So this then allows you to, instead of having to, for them having to read the instructions themselves, it's better because they can just play the audio clip of you giving them the instructions. So they can just listen to the instructions and they know what they would need to do. And a great thing about that is they can keep playing the audio clip so that they can, if they need to go back and they need a little bit of clarification on what exactly they're supposed to be doing, they can play that again. Okay. And then you can also add multimedia instructions. For example, for this one, it will prompt you to attach an item. So maybe if you want to demonstrate first how they're supposed to do that activity that you're giving them, you can upload a video of you doing it yourself so that they can watch that and that they know that's what they'll be doing. Okay, or you can maybe upload a photo of a finished work or an exemplary work, and they can use that as their sample so they get a better idea of what you're expecting them to do for that activity. Okay, and then this one allows you to add a template for your student responses. So for visible thinking, routines, and strategies, this is the one that we want to use to add a template, because this basically gives us the capability to structure already the visible thinking that we want them to do. And all they have to do is to open that template and they would just have to input their answers into it. So student template. So let's add a template for student responses. Since we're doing an I used to think, but now I know, perhaps the better one to use for this would be a note type of item. So let's do I used to think. And then let's leave some space for students to write their answers in. And then a lower part, but now I know. So it's as simple as that. You type in the sentence starter that you want to use, and then leave spaces for your students to put their answers in. And then after you're done with that, you just click the check button. Okay. So this will be their template now. Now you can record something. You can record maybe your voice saying these lines too. Again, this is good for younger students. Or you can edit it. Okay, if there's anything else you need to add there or you want to add there. Okay, but if you're good with it, you're satisfied with it, just click the check again. And then this should save as one of your activity templates. So you see that here, note attached, that's their template. Okay. All right, so let us save this for now. And then let's see what it would look like for students. Oh, before we go to that actually, you can see here, there is the 3 dots, the ellipses. When you click on that, you can edit this activity, delete it, or share it. Okay, so sharing an activity actually allows you to share it in different ways to different people. So you can email it to teachers, meaning you can share this with teachers who are also teaching at your school, who also have an account with Seesaw. So this is great for maybe if you're working in teams for a grade level in a subject, because then only one person has to create the activity and then they would just have to share it with everybody else. So when you click select teachers, you'll be presented with more or less a list of the different people in your school who have Seesaw as well. Okay, and then you just have to click the checkbox of their name and then click send activity, and it would send the activity to them. All right. Then we have share on social media. So if it's something you're comfortable sharing on social media, if you want other teachers maybe who are not part of your school to be able to use the same template, then you can share it through these different social media platforms. Okay, or you can send them a link to your activity or an embed code. So an embed code basically lets you put the activity itself in a website if you have one. So you can do that as well. All right, now let's say you're done with your template. You want to assign this activity now. You want your student to be able to do this now. You just click assign. And then as you can see, my list of different sections, my list of different classes is listed here, and then I just have to check the class that I want to assign this in. So if you are handling multiple classes, you can assign it to multiple classes and then assign class. Okay, so activity assigned. Now let's go back to class so we can view what this activity is like. So as you can see, it's here already in our activities tab. Okay, so what students will be doing here is that they will add the response. Click the add response button. Let's say I am student 1. This is just an example. So the note or the template is immediately pulled up. They can view instructions. And then at the bottom, they can either record their answers for this. So they will record their voices or them talking about their answer. Or they can edit note, and from there, they can now type in their answers. Okay, so I used to think that this would be difficult to do. But now I know that with practice, it gets easier. So they can do that. Let's say they're done. They just click check. They can review their answers. And then as you can see, it's marked as a draft for now. Okay, but then we can, they can finish it up and click the check button to submit it. Okay, check button's taking a little while. There. So once they finish it up, it will be uploaded, and as you can see, the results will actually come up. And as a teacher, if you are more comfortable with checking this physically, a physical copy, we can print it as a PDF, right? So let's go back to our activities tab so we can try out how to make other types of visible thinking routines or strategies with Seesaw. So let's go to activities. Right. Assign activity. It'll go take us to the activity library again. So I'm back in my library. Now let's try creating, let's say, a See, Think, Wonder. So for the See, Think, Wonder, usually this would mean that you will have a picture up for the students to see, and then they will express what they think about it, and then also what they wonder about it, or meaning what are maybe some questions that come into their mind when they see this picture. Okay, so again, you just type in your instructions. For this one, okay, what we'll be doing for our template is actually to upload the photo itself. Okay, so we will upload the photo itself of the one that we want them to look at. This one. All right, so we have our photo, and as you can see, you have editing tools on the sides and at the bottom that allow you to edit this picture and add notations to it. You can add text, you can add a recording, you can add photos over it, okay, and shapes and a background, okay, or a comment for it as well. So we'll be adding a text box. So we want to know what they see, think, and wonder about this picture. So what do you see? Then let's leave some space for their answers. All right, so let's place it there. Now, if you're not satisfied with the way this looks, you can actually go to Style and then select maybe the different font that you would like to use. Let's use Narrow. At the bottom, you can also select if your text box has a border and a background, or if you wanted to not have that at all and just be the text, and also the alignment. And as you can see here, you also have an order selection. So if you have multiple things on top, you can fix the orders. You can lock this so that your students cannot move it around. I would actually suggest doing that because if you have younger students, they might end up moving some of these things around when they open the template. Okay, and then you can duplicate this or delete it. Okay. All right, so if you want to resize this, you can also just click it. Okay, let's resize. Click it at the side and resize. So you just drag it. And again, let's lock it to make sure the students do not accidentally move it. So if you see here, if I'm trying to drag it around, it's not going to move because I would need to unlock it first before I can actually move it. Okay, so what do you see? What do you think about it? I actually forgot to capitalize the C there to bring emphasis to it, but anyway. Okay. What do you think? And then, Okay, again, resize as you see fit and lock if you need to. And then another would be, what do you wonder about it? Okay, and then leave some space for them to write their answers in. Maybe you'd like to place it somewhere else where it's not blocking any part of the screen, or you can resize it to be a little smaller so that, again, it doesn't block anything, like that. Okay, so another thing is, of course, you can change the color of your font. So you select your word, select your color with this one. Okay, if you want to bring emphasis to maybe this area that they need to answer. Okay, you can also draw with the markers at the bottom, or erase maybe some of the things you've drawn. So once you're done with this, again, just click check, and then you'll go back here. You'll see that your template is finally attached to that. And then if you're all good with this, you can save. All right, so this is the template. Let's see how our students would see this once it's assigned to them. So again, assigned to this class. Let's go back to our class to see it or to check on it. Let's add a response as student 1. And if the student opens it, then this is what they should see. They see already the template that you've prepared for them. So if I drag this, I cannot move it. This one was never locked, so I can move it, I can edit it. So how will students add their answers to this template? They would just have to click the text. So they can now write their own answers in their own text box, and they can drag it, move it around to fit into your area where you would want them to write their answers in. Or again, they can record their voice, they can record themselves talking about their answers if that's something they are more comfortable with or something that you will allow them to do. Okay, and then again, if they're done, they can check it so that it'll be uploaded and submitted as their work. All right, one more example I want to show you would be, okay, let's do a KWL chart. Okay, so a KWL chart, as you would know, is what you know, what you want to know, and what you learned. So they can organize their thoughts about the lesson into the KWL chart. So for the KWL chart, what we'll do is, again, create a new activity, KWL. For our template this time, okay, let's go to Google and search for an existing template. So if you're not, let's say, in the mood to create your own template, it doesn't have to be that custom, or it doesn't have to be that specific to your students. So let's say for KWL chart, of course, there's tons of examples already available on YouTube. Sorry, not YouTube, Google. So you have that already. Just search for it in images. We can save this. All right. And then what we'll do is to actually upload it again as a photo. Okay. We'll select it. So there's our KWL chart. Click check, and it's already there. So that's an easier way of doing it. Instead of having to do it on your own, you could look for a pre-existing template and then upload it. Okay, if there's nothing else you want to change here, then you can click the check button so that you save it as your template. Again, if there are other things you want to add, if there's anything you want to edit here, then you can use the different editing tools at the sides and at the bottom. Okay, and then you check. All right, that's our template attached. Let's save it. and then once again assign to our sample class so that we can see what it will look like to them. So back to class, I'll answer this, I'll add a response. This time let's go as student 2. Okay, it pulls up the chart, okay, and then students can just, they can maybe scroll their answers, they can draw their answers, they can add a text box. So let's say they will answer this one. Okay. What I know is have answer typed in, you can to the approach part or column and adjust it, make it bigger, small, more text box if they're, they're on analysts. And then once again, you will see their answers on the page itself or in their folder, their student folder. So you'll be able to see it. Okay, and again, if you're more comfortable checking these kinds of things physically, then you can decide to print them, right? I think one more, this time as a last sample, this time we'll do one that we're actually going to create the template ourselves by, using shapes, using the block. So this time let's do a CSI, our color symbol image. Okay. So for our template on this one, we'll actually use the drawing one. So drawing. All right. So we'll do a CSI. CSI is when you want students to express what they learned or how they feel about something using a color, a symbol, and an image or a picture. So let's start first with our color. Okay, let's say I don't want a border for my text box. So we go to Style, No Border. Let's make our color a little more colorful. There. So again, make sure you lock it so your students don't actually move it around. So where do you want them to make the color or to include the color or to show the color that they've chosen? Let's make a shape. Let's say we want them to put their color in a circle. So we just insert the circle shape. We can resize it, make it bigger, change the color. Or since we want them to actually put their own color in it, we can make it have a border and then be blank in the middle. Okay, and then let us lock this. So what students can do when they answer this is they can actually use the pens or pencils and markers to color this in. Or if, they're more advanced, they can create their own shape and create a shape of the color that they like and put it there. Next would be our symbol. So we position it there. Where do we want to put, where would we want them to put their symbol in? We can include another shape. Maybe this time we want them to put their symbol in a box. Okay, they can draw their symbol here. So they can draw it using the different writing tools or marking tools again. Again, let's make it a blank in the middle. Let's change the color. There. Okay, and then lock both of these. All right, and then last would be the image, or what picture can they use to express what they've learned. So for this, we can include another shape. It's really up to you. You can use the same shapes for all of them to be a little more consistent, but I just wanted to show you what it would be like if you're using different shapes. So you can see all the different types here. Let's say we want the image to be thought bubble, you know, just to show that maybe it's something they're thinking of. So your thought bubble there, you make adjustments as needed. So you can see I've run out of space here, so we'll have to adjust these a little to the left so that we have enough space for the image. As a tip, make sure everything is exactly where you want it to be before you lock them to avoid having to unlock everything again when you have to adjust. So image, okay? And how will students include their image here or the picture? Again, they can draw if they want to, or they can upload a picture or take a photo of their own using their device. Right? So color, symbol, image, we're done with that. Just click the check. Again, check if your template's good, and then save. All right, and now we have our CSI template. Let's assign it once more to our sample class. Okay, back to class. So our CSI template is right there. Let's add a response, student 3. So what color do I want? Let's use our marker. Let's say I'm feeling very happy, so I feel like yellow would better express that. Oh. Okay, yellow. This is more of a neon pen. Then you have other types of pens as well. Okay, or if they're not happy with it, they can always erase whatever it is they put in there if they want to start over. Okay, for symbol, let's say I want to draw a star. And then image, I want to take a photo or upload something, then I can do that. And then done. If I'm done, I can save and submit my work. So again, it will show up there. So basically, you know, the visible thinking strategies and routines are a great way for you to basically take a look at how your students feel about a topic or how much they learned about it by using visuals. Okay, so there are actually a lot of different examples of visible thinking routines. We've only covered very few of them here, but I encourage you to look at the different types because different types would apply to different topics and different grade levels as well. So, you know, use the one that's more appropriate for your students and more appropriate for whatever subject matter or topic you're dealing with. Okay, and again, try out Seesaw. It's a great platform. It's a great way for you to use this particular strategy in teaching and facilitating learning for your students. Okay, that's all. Thank you again for tuning in. We'll do Q&A as well. So if you have questions and if you have questions, just leave them in the comment box and then I will answer them for you as best as I can. Okay.
It's submitted already through the we have a few questions submitted already through the comment section. I'll just read some of them and try to answer them as best as I can. Okay, so first one from Melinda Rafael. Can we share the links of the activities that we created to other online platforms such as Google Classroom? So yes, the sharing options of Seesaw actually allows you to copy a link that goes directly to the activity itself, and you can pretty much link that to any other platform that allows you to link from external websites or other websites. So yes, you can link your Seesaw activity to your Google Classroom. From AMS Reader GH, can we use Seesaw free for the entire school year? Yes. So Seesaw is a free service. They have a premium option, which you can pay for if that's something you choose to do, which the only difference would be that it has a few more options and features for you to take advantage of, but you can definitely use Seesaw for free for as long as you would like. So if it's an entire school year, you can do that. From Luz Viminda Bardon, will it be possible to change the template's medium of instruction to Filipino? Thank you. Okay, so yes, the templates are basically, it depends on you, how you structure it, how you create it. So in my examples, I used English, but you can definitely use, Filipino or any other language that you are using. Okay, so because you will be the one creating the templates yourself, that's possible. So you can customize it as best as you can to fit your learners' needs, your students' needs better. Is it suitable for primary level? Yes, actually, Seesaw is very good for primary levels or for lower grade levels because the interface of the app and the website itself is very easy to navigate for younger kids. Um, Maybe for kinder or preschool students, you just give them a short orientation on where to find certain parts, certain activities. But yes, it would be useful for them. It would be suitable for them. In fact, even in our school, we use Seesaw for students as young as kinder. So it's something that they can definitely use. You just give them some time to get to know the platform, but it's very easy for them to navigate through and to manipulate. Is this app or can this app be used from Chiri Pangaral? Can this app be used without internet connection? So Seesaw is actually an online platform. So right now it cannot be used offline. You would have to be connected to the internet. What platform do you think is much better to use, Google Classroom or Seesaw? That would depend a lot on the type of activities that you are thinking about giving to your students. It also depends a lot on your students themselves. So younger students would be able to use Seesaw better, again, because of its interface. It's very navigable for them. For older students, Google Classroom would be might be better for them. So it really depends on your students and the level of digital skills that they have to be able to manipulate or use the platform. Okay, and also, depends on your class's needs as well. But more or less, they are sort of similar because they're both learning management systems. So they have similar functions to each other as well. So, yeah. From Ana Mendoza, how's the assessment on this particular activity? Okay, so assessment meaning how would we grade this? Probably it would depend on you on how you're going to grade it. You can, create your own set of rubrics of how you are going to grade it, what particular things or skills you'll be looking for in their output. So you can also use Seesaw's skills checker. So Seesaw actually has this function or this feature wherein you can input certain target skills that you want to check in your students, and then you just have to check whether or not they were able to achieve that skill and to what degree or to what level. Okay, and they can actually, you and your students can both track their progress individually on certain skills depending on their assessments or depending on their activity outputs. Assessing their output. So again, you can create your own set of rubrics for this or use the skill checker of Seesaw. Okay, from Darlene Painar Balani, if we can lift pictures from Google, how can we cite it to avoid copyright issues? So most pictures from Google Images actually would be under the fair use license, meaning you can use it freely. Most of them also have their own watermark, so that shouldn't be a problem. But if you notice that it doesn't have a watermark and you want to be extra sure, of course, that we don't infringe on any copyrights or restrictions, then what you can do is use the text box tool to just include a small citation of where you got the image from. And then just place it at the bottom of the picture or maybe at the side. It's just so somewhere where we can see that it's actually from where you're actually crediting the author of that particular template. From John Relly Baroro Robin, is it suitable in Android or in laptop or computer only? So Seesaw, the great thing about it, like I mentioned earlier, is that it's very accessible. The app is available on different platforms. So it's not only for desktop or laptop computers. You can also download the app for your tablets or even your mobile phones. So yes, it does cover Android as well. Perhaps one of the things that you might want to consider, however, when you use phones is that the screen size might be smaller. So there might be some difficulty with doing the activities with such a small screen size or viewing certain templates. But definitely you can download the app on Android and use it there. Okay. From Maria Levy de Castro, is it possible to create a test type quiz in Seesaw? Are the responses only exclusive to teachers who created the activity and will not be shown to other students? So yes, you can create a test type quiz. However, it's not something that's built into Seesaw. So a workaround that you could do for that would be that you would have to create the template on a different platform, or maybe create it on, let's say, a Word file, save it as a PDF, and then you can upload it as a template for the activity. And then your students can then answer that digitally through their computers or tablets or phones, or they can also print it and then answer it and scan and upload their accomplished forms or accomplished quiz or assessment. Will the responses be exclusive to you and the student? Yes. So other students will not be able to see the activity responses of their classmates unless, of course, you choose to share it with the class. Okay, but if it's, like a summative assessment, then they won't be able to see that. It's already set into Seesaw. You don't have to fix any settings for that. Okay. All right. Another suggestion I would have is, because Seesaw does not have any built-in assessment features aside from if you're giving formative assessments or formative activities for them, the workaround that you can do is to use other platforms like, let's say, Socrative, quizzes, things like that. And then you can just link the site to the quiz or to the assessment within Seesaw. So you can set an activity and then attach the link to that particular test. From Luz Viminda Bardon, will this app use real-time responses? Okay. How can this app verify if the students are the ones answering the activities at home and not their parents? So right now, we don't really have, or Seesaw itself does not have a way of verifying if the students themselves are the ones doing or answering the activity. So what you can do to avoid having this type of situation would be, you can have your students do the activities while you're having your live discussions. So that way you can at least monitor them and you can check that they're actually the ones doing the work and submitting their own work without the help of their parents or without their parents being the ones to do the activity for them. Okay, but if you're planning to do this asynchronously, maybe set clear guidelines and expectations for your students so that they know also, what you expect of them and how they're supposed to deal with this type of activity. Okay. So I think that covers most of the questions that we got in for our session today on Seesaw. So again, if you have more questions, then you can open the Seesaw website. They have a help center that has also some FAQs, so you can check out some frequently asked questions there, and they would have the answers for you. So if there's something I was not able to address here, then you would probably be able to find the answers there. And I encourage you again to explore it, okay, especially for those with younger students. This is very helpful for them, especially if you'll be conducting online distance learning. Another note I like to add, by the way, before I end, is that some have been asking what could we do if students have poor connection or unstable connection to the internet. How will they be able to do the activities? So because you upload the activities through templates usually, then what they can do is actually open the template and then they would just download it and save it as a PDF maybe, or save it as an image, and they can print it and then do the work offline. After that, they can take a picture of their accomplished activity and just send it to you through Seesaw again. So that's one workaround that we can do if we expect that our students have unstable connection or weaker internet connection. Okay, so that's all for me today. This is actually my last Facebook Live webinar for Rex. I hope to see all of you again sometime soon, maybe. Okay, I hope I get the opportunity, of course, again, to be able to impart some of the things that can help you with online distance learning at this time. Okay, so Rex will actually also upload or include an evaluation form after this, which you can answer to get your e-certificates. Okay, don't forget also that tomorrow morning we will have another set of webinars. Okay, so tune in for that as well, because we have more speakers who will be telling us a little bit more of how we can better deal with the changes that we're experiencing now in the field of education as teachers, as we take on the new normal of having to conduct online distance learning. So that's it for me today. Thank you again. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you tune in again tomorrow as well.